Hi guys. Good morning. This is about 6:45 here in Nigeria where I'm filming from. Um I've just been thinking, like I woke up this morning and after I did some of my morning routine, um, I decided to take a shot at this live session. So I've been thinking about something lately, like what will it be like if I run a live session early in the morning like this before I go into my very busy day. And it's been difficult for me lately to shoot videos, edit, and put out content. I've literally been in and out of YouTube. And I was like, okay, while I'm still trying to figure that out because of the phase of life in which I am in, why don't I even interact live, with everyone out there who, might like my kind of content or like the kind of thing that I talk about. Sorry, I currently have a cold and it's affecting my voice. I'm running this live session, without a microphone, just me and my phone. I'll see how that goes, but maybe the next one I'll get to use a microphone. So I want to talk about something this morning. I want to talk about ideas. I want to talk about execution of ideas. When you have an idea that comes to you. Recently, I was just looking into my old notes where I use this Evernote to, jot down ideas on the go while they come to me. So, and I looked at something that I wrote about having an idea, and this is what I wrote down. When a fresh idea comes to you, when a fresh idea comes to you, excuse me, I think I need to switch network. Okay. So when you have an idea about something, you get an idea about something, you get an inspiration about something to do, maybe XYZ, to carry out something, maybe a spectacular inspiration to engage into maybe a new venture, a business, research, just something new. And you think about it, you research about it, you brood over it, you pray about it, you know, probably share it with someone, try to see how you can bring that idea into life. If you sit on that particular idea and you don't do anything about it, there's a way that it clouds your mind. There's a way that it just sits there and occupy the space in your mind, and it becomes very difficult for you for fresh ideas or new ideas to come because you have not executed that. Observe something. When you stop executing, when you stop carrying out the new ideas and new thoughts that comes to you, over time you stop getting new, or you stop getting fresh ideas or fresh inspiration. And this has happened to me. Like, I've had this experience many times where I get a new idea about something, or I get an inspiration to do something. I keep maybe procrastinating or thinking, oh, this is not the right time. I need to polish it this way. I need to polish it that way. And I do not get to the point of execution. Each time you want to think about something else, that same idea pops up. But you have this you haven't done. You have this you haven't done. You have that you haven't done. And it just sits there and haunts you. It literally becomes a burden, especially when there are strong inspirations and strong ideas that you know that God is giving to you to do, to execute. Like, these are like parts of your life journey, parts of your destiny calling, things that you are supposed to be doing with your life and you're not doing. It's a problem you're supposed to be solving, even if it's as little as, you know, something that you're supposed to get on with someone and do, or something you're supposed to correct somewhere and you don't do it. You It becomes like a debt, and then the scary part is how that particular idea will cloud your mind, cloud the engine of your thoughts, and it becomes really, really difficult for you to get new ideas. And if you allow that cycle to repeat over time, it becomes, in fact, you notice that you start getting fresh inspiration, fresh ideas. Maybe after a long time, God could show you mercy and then something comes again. But if it becomes a pattern where you consistently refuse to implement instructions, implement inspirations that come to you, sometimes it might even be out of fear. Like, am I going to be able to am I going to be able to meet up? Am I going to be able to do this? Like, this is bigger than me. Usually ideas that come to you will always look bigger than you until you take a step of execution. That's when you begin to see that, oh, it's possible, or the provisions for execution, were in the taking of steps or in taking action. Only when you have started to take action, only when you have started to execute, that everything else that you need to get that idea properly executed will start to come to you. So I mean, I was looking through my notes recently and I saw a lot of beautiful ideas that I wrote down. I kept researching, thinking about it. How do I bring this to pass? How do I make this happen? And then you get busy with life, get married, start having kids, work. Just there are always ready-made excuses that will stop you from executing these ideas, from living fully. We are created in God's image, and as human beings, God has have us. God created us here to tend the world, to solve problems, to keep the world moving, to keep the world running. Like, we are His instruments on earth, that He uses to execute His will. That is for those who are surrendered to God, and for those who are surrendered to God's will. And there's always that there's always that innate nature of us that we had gotten from God, that yearn to solve problems. Like, you want to do something meaningful. When this reminds me of Viktor Frankl's book, um the search for meaning, or man's search for meaning. Yes, I remember the title now. Man's search for meaning. Very wonderful book. I think I read the book like twice now, and you know, there's 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 that part of you. He talks about, the I think at the end of the book he summarizes it that beyond just living, there is always that meaning that we look for as human beings, something deeper than just all the usual activity that you need to engage to survive. Man search for meaning, and there's always that emptiness of which at some point only God can fill. And so, what I'm trying to say is there's always this yearning in us as human beings to do something meaningful, to do something to solve problem, to just do more, to do more, to do more than the ordinary, more than just waking up, eating, taking care of yourself, looking good, working, earning money, and all the normal activity that we engage in. Um, it's I think, and that's because we are created in God's image. So God just have that thing in us where there's just this thing in humans where you want to do something meaningful. And how do you know exactly what you are supposed to be doing as your own um, response to this yearning? So God comes to you in ideas, He comes to you like an inspiration. I mean, that's how we have all the wonderful things that we have in the world. Somebody saw a problem, thought about how do I solve this problem. And as you think, you brood, you research, the light bulb just pop. And excuse me, and you're like, oh, this is how I can solve this problem. And you see, we've had people solve generational problems. And that's how we have the advancement, the technology, and everything that we have that have made life easy for us in the world today. So, and now it looks like, oh, they've solved all the problem. The rest of us have to just live and enjoy and live off, people's, other people's activity, or other people's journey or achievement. That's the word. And live off of other people's achievement. But no, everybody, every one of us created by God has definite assignments, definite things that God will have us do on the face of earth. But I'm coming up this morning from the angle of productivity, from the angle of, you know, in our everyday life experience. Have you had an idea that you failed to implement, that you failed to execute, and then it just sits there and cloud your mind, cloud your memory? And then it's been so difficult for you to get fresh ones. It's been so difficult for you to even move on and do something else. And it's interesting how God have created us such that, let's assume that, oh, we are always on point. You get an idea and boom, you swing into action, you execute, you implement. You see that the moment you finish that, a new one will come. In fact, while you are at it, different ways, different adjustment, more inspiration, how to go about it more perfectly. It just keep coming, it just keep coming, and you see that eventually you get so good at it, and then you bring out something beautiful. So let me see if I can get a practical example. Okay, say you get an idea, and in fact, this is me practically, to say, go. I live in, like, here in Nigeria, where it's a third world country, and there's just so much poverty, so much need, so many things going wrong around us. And then you get an idea like, how do I solve some of these problems? How do I make life easy? How do I contribute positively to making um my country or where I live easy for people generally? And then you get an idea, okay, let's say in the educational sector, you see that, oh, you could set up some educational activity during holidays to help children, to help the less privileged kids, out of school children, something. And you're like, oh, okay, that's beautiful. Then you start to research, you start to think, you start to go out. What school can I partner with? Where can I start from just very close to me? Maybe you don't even have funding. And you start to talk to people, you put this thing together, and just somehow you see that there are other persons who had probably even had this idea and they just didn't know how to come about it, or some persons who have the funds to support such thing, but they are not given to be at the forefront of it to execute. And then when they see somebody who is ready to execute such, they will gladly fund. But let's say this idea comes to you and you did nothing about it. All those persons who would have come out of nowhere to become your team member to get you to execute this educational program that you've received, they won't come up. You won't meet them. It won't happen. You who got the idea must take the step. So the summary of what I'm trying to talk about this morning is the fact that when you get fresh ideas from God, when you get fresh inspiration, while you're meditating, while you're thinking, if you're somebody that wants to get deeper meaning out of life, just more than the ordinary, just more than the everyday routine and everyday activity, it's you need to step up on your execution. In fact, when I thought about how to solve the problem of, oh, I have so many things, so many content I want to put out, so many things I want to do, and it's not been very convenient, like, okay, what if I start a live session in the morning like this? Because my mornings are a bit free for now, and talk about stuff just right there on the spot on live sessions. And then of course later people could come and watch, and eventually in the community out there who these things resonate with will show up. I've been sitting on it for a very long time, so this morning I just decided to take a step in executing. There's this thing that they say that it's only when you take action, it's only in doing, in taking action, that you get provisions for what you need. It's only in taking action that the things that you want to do, you understand them better. You start to straighten out. You get better at it. I mean, the popular saying that says practice makes perfect. So if you have an idea, you have something that you want to do, and you're thinking it's not the right time yet, you need to research more, you need to set up the team, everything needs to be perfect, you need to get this, you need to get that, you need to dot all the I's, you need to cross all the T's. Oh no, that's my, let me see if I can show you in this video. That's the father cock in the compound. You need to dot the I's, you need to cross the T's. If you think that until everything is perfect before you start, maybe this session is for you this morning. Take action, try and start executing. In fact, the part that scares me the most is the fact that when you do not execute, when you do not, you could literally stop to get fresh ideas and fresh inspiration. And I have experienced this personally for a very long time. It was like some form of brain block or something. You you don't get new ideas because all the ones you've gotten, they are still haunting you. They are still there somewhere in your heart. You haven't your heart, your mind, your thinking engine is already clouded. You need to empty it out in execution. You need to see through till the last dot of that idea before you can get very fresh ones. And if you begin to, it's just like writing. When you have an idea to write about something, and then you keep writing, you say, oh, this version is not the very best. You revise, you revise, you rewrite, you revise, you improve. You see that after several, yeah, get out of here. After several attempts, that piece of writing is going to come out very, very beautiful because you have worked on it over and over and over. So it's the same thing with ideas. When you get an idea, when a thought comes to you to do something meaningful, because as human beings, that's who we are. God has created us to live a meaningful life. And when you're not living that meaningful life, you don't feel satisfied, you don't feel fulfilled. It could be as little as around the house. How to make the environment more convenient, more suitable, more livable. You get an idea, you're like, oh, I could do this around this place and this place will be more beautiful. Let's say you're a homemaker or you're just, around you're not married and you live alone. How to make your life easy for you to be able to do all the things that you need to do easier. And then you get this idea, oh, I could set up something around here and it will make your daily routine easy for you. The thought comes, you ignore it. Tomorrow another thought comes, you ignore it. After a while, you see that you stop getting ideas around how to make your room or your house or your living environment more comfortable. So this is me trying to say this to someone out there. I have experienced this a lot, and I want to believe that I'm not alone in that experience. So if this resonates with you, um, this is me trying to encourage you to say that take action. Try to, in fact, you may have lost a lot of ideas that came to you that you never took any step to do something about it. So what was the last idea that came to you to do something? And you're still sitting on it, you're still brooding about it, you're still thinking about it. This is like a call for you to take action and try to execute this one and see how fresh and new ones are going to start popping up only when you have emptied your mind of this very one. And in doing, in taking action, you are going to get all that you need to perfectly execute that very idea. The Bible says something, it says the path of the righteous, it shines brighter and brighter and brighter unto the perfect day. So when your path means, as you go on your daily journey, on your daily life, your daily living, every step is supposed to be a better step than yesterday. But if you refuse to take any step at all, how are you going to experience the brightness, the brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter days that are ahead of you? So It's a call for you to execute, because when you do not execute ideas, they die. They don't just die, they block your mind from getting fresh ones, from getting new ones. So ideas that come to you, allow them to, it kills and then it blocks you from getting fresh ones. I hope that this helps someone this morning, and as you go into your day, as you go about your daily activity, think about this thing. And if it resonates with you, I'd like to hear your comments and what you think about it. I intend to do this often every morning. I don't promise to say, oh, every day I'm going to be here, but very, very often for most mornings. I'd just like to wake up and spend say 30 minutes to an hour on a live session like this with everyone that resonates with the things that I talk about. Um, it could be from stuff like this, it could be to experience, life experience generally, it could be about what I do for a living. I'm a lawyer and I'm into corporate practice. It could just be about life generally, and I hope that you enjoy it. So thank you for watching this morning, and I'll see you again next time. Let's see. Oh, trying to end the live session.